Julie Negron. I'm a registered dietitian with Casa de Sante, and I'm here on a regular basis, on a weekly basis, to meet with you and answer your questions that you may have. First, as an introduction to myself, I'm a registered dietitian. I've been a registered dietitian since 1991, so 30-something years, and I've worked in hospitals and clinics and public health in many different areas, and in private practice as well. So my experience is in many different areas of nutrition. And basically, my focus has been on gastrointestinal nutrition for quite some time because of a personal experience that I've had. And also professionally, I think back in the year 2003, I was introduced to probiotics for the first time, and really got interested in those and started taking them myself. And a little bit more about myself is that I found in 2009, realized that I have celiac disease, and was diagnosed with that. With celiac disease, and then I had to really changed my life in a lot of different ways, and was quite a challenge. The healing process of healing my gut, and the effects of the long-term effects as well of celiac disease. I have irritable bowel syndrome as well. There's just some symptoms with some foods, not all of the low FODMAP foods. So I can relate to having to have dietary restrictions. I have to be gluten-free myself with celiac disease. So I've had to adjust my social life and what restaurants I go to, and of course, what food I buy, and recipes and all those kind of things, as well as my health care. I look, I really concentrate on my bone health, because even though I'm athletic and I've been really active all my life, I was diagnosed with osteopenia, which is a step. It's not quite osteoporosis, but it's getting there. So I'm trying to prevent that with certain types of treatment, vitamin D and K, and etc. So basically, that's a long way of saying I know what it's like to have, I can relate to going out to restaurants, eating socially, having restrictions on certain foods that I can and can't eat. And it can be very challenging, and it takes getting used to, and it takes a lot of patience. So I just wanted to let you know a little bit about myself, and I'm just so happy that you're here today. And like I said, we're going to be doing this on a weekly basis. So I have a couple questions that have come in, and let's see. The first question that came in is, what is the best probiotic to use after antibiotic treatment of SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, to reestablish good bacteria? That's a great question. Thank you, Pam, for that question. Really, the best probiotic for that, I've looked into a lot of different probiotics, but the best that I know has a combination of not only probiotics in certain strains with certain strains and certain amounts, billions. So probiotics, a combination of that, as well as prebiotics, is ideal, because the prebiotics are like the food for probiotics, and helps sustain the good bacteria, the probiotics, so that they can be strong and have the energy that they need to kind of go down through the gut. And basically what happens, I guess, in a kind of a simplistic form, is that the probiotics, the good bacteria, crowds out in the gut, in the microbiome, the bad bacteria, and replaces them at their receptor sites. So it's kind of like they knock them out of their seat and say, I'm going to take over here. This is my seat now. And they crowd out the bad bacteria. And it's not really, it's a gradual process of replacing the bad bacteria with good bacteria on a daily basis. And the best one that I know of that has that combination is, let's see, it is the Advanced by Casa de Sante. Let me see. The Advanced Probiotic. It's certified low FODMAP, and is gluten-free and free of any lactose. It's called Advanced Pro and Prebiotic Premium Formula. It's low FODMAP certified and gut friendly. It's gluten, dairy, and soy free. And it has delayed release capsules, so that as the day is going on, you get a certain amount of the billions of bacteria. It's mostly bacillus strains, bifidobacterium and lactobacillus strains of good bacteria. So that's the one specifically that I like because of that combination of pre and probiotics. Having both can really, really help. There's also one that has pre and probiotics as well as digestive enzymes. If you feel like you're having trouble digesting, Casa de Sante has one that has pre and probiotics as well as digestive enzymes. So you could check those out on the website. I hope that answers your questions. If you have any more questions about that, feel free to ask. Let's see, number 2, we have another question that came in. I'm certain I'm very vitamin B deficient, but my FMD has told me to stop all supplements, but the ones meant for the SIBO protocol. I'm following, except the ones meant for the SIBO protocol that I'm following. Is it not okay to take a B complex supplement? Okay, so your family FMD, is that your family medicine doctor? My first reaction to that is not necessarily about the vitamins, but I would, if you feel like you're having SIBO, that you have SIBO, it's been diagnosed, I would recommend to go to a gastroenterologist. A gastroenterologist is the expert in all things gastrointestinal. A family or a family medical doctor may be able to do the breath tests and diagnose, but a referral to your gastrointestinal doctor is what I would do, as well as if that doctor has a dietitian, a registered dietitian that can assist you in really honing in on what your needs are. What are your symptoms? Why do you think you're deficient in vitamin B? Is it your energy level? A lot of people think in terms of energy with vitamin B, but it could be, they do so much more than just energy. So it sounds like your doctor's targeting the SIBO protocol and doesn't want anything to interact with it. And so for now, I would say follow their protocol, but also get another opinion or a gastrointestinal doctor to help with your care in this process of your SIBO protocol. You can always call, go on casadesante.com and get a free gut health assessment. You can talk with a registered dietitian, a GI clinician. We're very focused on gastrointestinal issues like irritable bowel syndrome and SIBO being the most common. So you can get sometimes a quicker answer to problems, because sometimes seeing a specialist can take a while. I would not take the B complex supplement, Sarah, at this time if the doctor says not to. It may be that your doctor doesn't want to stimulate more growth of the bad bacteria. I'm not sure. So SIBO is really a complex disease, and you need to take antibiotics, certain types of antibiotics, and there's a lot to it. So getting the help you need is necessary. I appreciate your question, and there's just a lot to it, and we would need to really look at what your needs are on an individual basis. So thank you for that. And then we're going to be talking about the power of balanced nutrition and understanding micro and macronutrients, and what is the difference between them? What are they? So the third question is, what are macronutrients and micronutrients? Why are they important in maintaining a balanced diet? Well, that's a good question. And macronutrients are carbohydrates, protein, and fats. So those are the macronutrients. And if you think in terms of the macronutrients are providing calories. Calories are the measure of fuel, is what energy. So calories provide energy and support bodily functions and structure. And the current guidelines for macronutrients are that you get about 45. Oh, here's my cat, Lucy. She likes to join us on our calls and get in my way and drink my water. Oh, she's trying to take my supplements. I think she likes my fish oil, my omega-3s. I haven't had a chance to take them yet. So the first macronutrient, carbohydrates, we need around 45 to 65% of our calories from carbohydrates. Protein, we need about 10 to 35% of our calories from protein. And from fat, healthy fat, not saturated fat, but healthy fats. we need 20 to 35%. Individual needs vary, and but that's just kind of a general look at what the macronutrient guidelines are. I kind of tend to simplify it in my mind. It's easier to think of about 50% carb, 25 and protein, 25 fat is a much simpler way to think in terms of what amounts of macronutrients you need. Micronutrients are another major group of nutrients for your body, and they include vitamins and minerals. So micronutrients are really what we need in smaller amounts, and the macronutrients will supply those micronutrients. So choosing our carbohydrates, our fats and our proteins that are nutrient dense in vitamins and minerals is the key here. So vitamins and minerals, vitamins are necessary for energy production, our immune function, for blood clotting, and many, many other functions in our body. And minerals play an important role in growth, in our bone health, in our fluid balance, and several other processes of our body. So that's kind of a breakdown of what macronutrients are and micronutrients are, and how they both come together in our food supply and provide us with the calories that we need, the energy or fuel, and then also the nutrients that we need to do various functions in our body. The next question is, how do macro and micronutrients differ in terms of their role in the body and the amounts needed for optimal health? Well, micronutrients, like the vitamins and minerals, really support growth and brain development, immune function, and energy and metabolism. So in all those little cycles, chemical cycles in our body, certain vitamins are needed in those to provide us with the growth, the energy. Like Sarah's question about B vitamins. B vitamins are really important in the energy production cycles in our cells at the cellular level. So we need to have enough B vitamins. While macronutrients provide the energy and the building blocks, the protein provides the building blocks, the carbohydrate provides energy, fat provides energy as well, and our structure and functions, whereas the micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals, don't provide the calories. They just work in the various areas of the cells. So macronutrients, the carbohydrate, protein, and fat, produces and provides energy, kind of like gas to a car. Fueling, you have to fuel up your tank every morning and throughout the day, so you don't run out of energy or fuel. The next question, what are some common dietary sources of macronutrients and micronutrients, and how can we ensure we're getting enough of each? Well, macronutrients, first of all, remember they consist of carbs, protein, and fat. So I'm going to start with carbs. Whole grains, such as rice, pasta, anything made with flour, the different types of grains, barley, rye, wheat, rice, all of the different types of grains, what food products are made from those would be carbohydrates. Vegetables and fruits have carbohydrates as well. And a lot of these, whole grains and fruits and vegetables are a major source of our carbohydrate. But they also may have a little bit of protein and a little bit of fat. And especially if we add fat to them, such as putting butter on toast, we're adding fat to the grain. But some naturally have a small amount, a mixture of carb, protein, and fat. But those are the major sources of carbs: whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. Proteins are often present then in meat, different types of meats, pork, lamb, cow, beef, fish, poultry. Nuts and seeds have protein. Beans, eggs, dairy, soy, and many plant-based proteins like tofu and soy and edamame, for example. And sometimes, like I said earlier, there's a cross between what is a food that is high in protein and a food that's high in another macronutrient like a grain. For example, quinoa. Quinoa is a whole grain, but it also does have a good amount of protein naturally. Nuts and seeds have a good amount of protein, but they also have a good amount of healthy fat. So fats are, we need healthy fat. Our brain needs healthy fat. It's an important fuel in our daily diet. Avocados are a really good source of healthy fat. Oily fish like salmon is a good source. Nuts and seeds, olive oil, and various different types of plant oils. Avocado oil. There's peanut oil, sesame seed oil. There's all kinds of different types of oils, but the best being olive oil. And there are different types you can use for cooking because of their heat index and things like that. But that's getting. I want to stay more general for this question. So those are the macronutrients: your carbohydrates, like your whole grains, fruits and vegetables; your proteins, such as the meats, fish, poultry, nuts and seeds, beans and eggs, dairy has some protein in it too. And your healthy fats like avocado, nuts and seeds, fish, oily fish, and olive oil, and different types of oil as well. And then as far as the common micronutrients, we need to obtain micronutrients from our food. We don't produce vitamins and minerals in our body for the most part. That's why they're referred to as essential nutrients. They're organic compounds from plant and animal sources. And so when you consume vitamins that plants and animals create, or minerals they absorbed, you're getting that from the plant source or the animal source. So we need an adequate amount of the micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, for growth, for our immune function, for our brain development, and many other cellular functions. We have water-soluble vitamins like the B vitamins. We have fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin A and vitamin D, vitamin E and K are fat-soluble vitamins. They don't dissolve in water. The water-soluble vitamins like the B vitamins and vitamin C are soluble in water, and so those can go in, and then we can excrete those very quickly, and we're less likely to have too much of those types of vitamins. Vitamins that are fat soluble, we have to be careful about because they can store in our body. Macro minerals like calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, and then there's trace minerals like iron and fluoride, selenium, zinc. So you have different types of vitamins and minerals, and some are needed in a higher amount, some in a lower amount. So that's basically what our food provides. Just a variety of vitamins and minerals, and macronutrients like carbohydrates, proteins, and fats that supply the micronutrients as well. The next question is, how do we balance our macronutrient intake to support our health and fitness goals while ensuring we're getting enough micronutrients? Well, as a general rule, like I was saying earlier, the macronutrient breakdown is around 50% more or less of carbohydrate, 25% healthy fat, 25% protein, more or less. And we need to focus on getting those nutrients in a supply that isn't too little or isn't too much. So how can we balance our intake is by kind of thinking in terms of those percentages and breaking that down into meals: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. Kind of an easy way for me to think in terms of that is on a meal-to-meal basis, and kind of a simplistic way of looking at that is the different macronutrients, eating nutrient-dense foods in each of these food groups, so that we know that they're, for example, I can't see. Okay, yeah, protein. So you have a quarter of the plate here, a quarter of the plate being from grains, and then half the plate from fruits and vegetables, and then some dairy as well. And if you're eating nutrient-dense foods and avoiding foods that are super high in what we call empty calories, like fatty foods like chips and cookies, sugary foods, both from high calorie from fat and sugar, for example, donuts and cookies and chips and things like that. If we're eating a lot of those are empty calories. Those are just like calories that really don't provide the micronutrients, the vitamins, and the minerals. So making choices in each of the food groups that are nutrient dense, that is the key. And we'll get into that a little bit more. The next question: common misconceptions about macronutrients and micronutrients, and how can you dispel these myths? Well, let's see. Misconceptions about, I think there are a lot of misconceptions about nutrition in general, and a misconception about macronutrients is that I'm trying to think. Misconception about macronutrients is that the fewer the better, and that I think socially, the word diet and connotates a negative reaction, because that word, which was meant for just it really means what we eat on a daily basis. It's turned into something that means we follow a certain way of eating that's kind of deprives us of what we really want, and makes us have cravings for the things that we want. And so I find the most misconceptions having to do with nutrition is really in the diet category, weight loss category, and that we need to have less than, and we need to deprive ourselves. That kind of mindset has been really something that, and there's a lot of misinformation having to do with nutrition. It is a changing science. That's why folks like myself, who are registered dietitians, we have to get a certain amount of continuing education units to keep our registration. We need to stay updated on all the latest science and research that's going on out there having to do with nutrition, because there's a lot of research in that area, and some of the recommendations can change a bit over time, and so we need to stay updated on all of that. It's really easy to have a lot of there's a lot of misinformation on the web, and so it's really easy to get confused, especially if you need to be on a special diet and you find all kinds of misleading information or half-truths. Going to see a registered dietitian can really break through a lot of the minutia of misinformation and give you a straight path to knowing what is the credible information and what is just misinformation, and maybe selling points for certain food products. So just be aware of that. A credible website is for just general nutrition is eatright.org, and that is through the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, eatright.org. If you look up, and you can look up information and search information and get just general but credible nutrition information. You could look up some general information about different diseases, recipes, things like that, that are very healthy, and you know that you're getting the right information. So that can help with misconceptions, going to a credible website that you know. So that's eatright.org. All right, the next question: how do our individual needs vary based on factors like, oh, Lucy's back. Individual nutrition needs vary based on factors like age, sex, activity level, and how can we adjust our diet accordingly? Well, your recommended calorie intake depends on your age, So we take your age into consideration, your activity level. Are you a man or a woman? Men need more calories on a general basis than women. So there's a mixture of factors that we need to take into consideration. Most women need between 1,600 calories to 2,400 calories per day. Men need anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 calories a day. But it really does depend on individually what your needs are. There's dietitians can figure out your needs. We have calculators to put the information in and calculate based on those different factors what calorie needs are. And then breaking those calories, like say 2,000 calories, into a certain amount for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and maybe a snack in between. So it's kind of divided out into the meals. So adjusting our diet accordingly. We can access, there is a calorie calculator it's based on, I think it's based on the Mifflin equation, but that's really, it's really for registered dietitians to really calculate those the calories based on the factors and making sure that we look at all the different variables, including if a person needs to gain weight, if they need to lose weight, if they have a certain medical diagnosis that changes what kinds of foods and nutrients they need, if they're on medication, and that can change what kinds of nutrients and foods we can eat and not eat. Hormonal changes, age, sometimes with age we can develop intolerances to certain foods and things like that. So developing a healthy diet and lifestyle plan, really, it it is important to in determining, based on your nutritional needs, taking into effect your age and different factors. So what are some potential health risks associated with diet that's too high or too low in certain macronutrients and micronutrients? That's a great question because there are potential health risks in having too many calories or too little calories. Getting too much or too little of vitamins and minerals also can have very negative side effects. But the energy that we consume from our carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, we can overeat, and that increases the risk of chronic disease like obesity, coronary heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancers. Undernutrition can cause us to be underweight, to potentially have nutrient deficiencies, and energy, being energy deficient, just not having enough calories, getting low blood sugar. Your body just doesn't work as well. You may have headaches and get dizzy and not be able to focus mentally. And so undernutrition can have a lot of side effects, and over time, a lack of vitamins and minerals. For example, if somebody is vegetarian and they've taken red meat out of their diet and all types of meat out of their diet, and they aren't getting any sources or good enough sources of iron, they can become anemic, and their energy level, they can feel tired and fatigued easily. So they're getting inadequate amounts of iron in their diet, and become iron deficient anemia. Another example could be a person who is vegan, and people who are vegan need to take vitamin B12, supplement with nutritional yeast to get the B vitamins, and especially B12, because B12 is only found in animal sources. And so a person that doesn't eat any animal sources would be deficient in B12. And that is a type of anemia as well. So those are a couple of examples of health risks that are associated with getting too little of micronutrients like vitamins, for example, and B12, and a mineral like iron. How can we use nutritional supplements to support our overall health and well-being, and what are precautions we should take with these? That's a good question too. Nutrition supplements, we can get too much or too little of calories from carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. We can get too much or too little from our vitamins and minerals. But taking nutritional supplements is something that I would do only with professional advice. If you're wanting to kind of just ensure that you're getting a little bit of all the vitamins that you need, kind of an insurance, but not overdoing in certain vitamins and minerals, because that can really throw off. Like say you take too much of one vitamin, it can throw off another vitamin or mineral in your body and throw it off balance, because they can compete. For example, if you're taking iron and you're taking iron and calcium, they kind of compete. So one will get not let the other mineral absorb. So there are certain nuances to nutrition supplements that, just to go ahead and take this and take that and the other thing just because you heard of something or it works for someone else or because you Googled it. I would be very careful about that and leery, because nutrition supplements can throw other nutrients off balance in your body. So like I was saying earlier, if you feel like you might need some vitamins and minerals and you want to get like A to Z, a multivitamin and mineral, maybe like a 1 a day type, I wouldn't be too concerned about. You could do that and feel like if your diet doesn't cover all of your vitamin and mineral needs, then at least you're getting a little bit of all the various vitamins and minerals. So a multivitamin and mineral makes sense, but you don't want to take mega levels of any vitamin or mineral, because like I said, you can throw off and have side effects from mega doses especially of fat-soluble vitamins, because they do store in your body. So let's see. The next question is, how can we make informed choices when it comes to selecting foods and planning meals that provide a balanced mix of macronutrients and micronutrients? Well, basically, I was mentioning this earlier, and this is from myplate.gov. You can look this, MyPlate is all over in the nutrition world. And I really like it because it's simple, and it just shows you the different food groups and what a plate, ideally what a plate looks like. And in each of these food groups, to opt for the nutrient dense foods in each of these food groups. For example, in the grains, going for whole grain breads and cereals, and rice, brown rice, instead of white rice. If you like it, if you don't, white rice is fine. Crackers, multigrain, quinoa. You want high fiber as well in the grain group. So those are some ways of getting, looking at the grain group and really opting for nutrient dense. Proteins, having lean protein instead of really fatty cuts of beef and hamburger, having lean cuts and poultry without the skin. And excuse me, Lucy. Nutrient dense foods in the fruits and vegetables would be fresh or frozen. Frozen is good also. And then dairy. Also with dairy, the leaner types of dairy, the lower fat types of dairy, because the excess fat can be kind of excess calories. So going for lean and whole grain and nutrient dense fruits and vegetables. Choosing foods that help your brain. Really the healthy fats, like we were talking about earlier, avocado, olive oil, nuts and seeds. Making healthy food swaps. Say you love things that are like French fries, and you want to make them in a healthier way. Well, you could cut up potato and bake it, and cut it up with leaving the skin on, so it's got the fiber, and you can bake, air fry or bake French fries at home with some olive oil. You can make your favorite foods that can be like a junk food into a healthier type of food by making food swaps. Instead of having fatty beef, you can have really lean type of beef or hamburger. Instead of having fried chicken, you can have grilled chicken or air fry. So having healthy food swaps for some of your favorite foods is important. Replacing sugary treats with other types of foods that will kind of be sweet, but then not so unhealthy. And choosing quality over quantity. It's easy to overeat, and a lot of times in restaurants and going to fast foods, the portions are so large that we can overeat. But if we're, there are healthier types of foods. Like I go to Chipotle, for example, instead of McDonald's, and they have rice, they have brown rice and white rice. So they have whole grains, they have vegetables there, they have lean types of meats, and they have healthy types of fats like the guacamole, for example, that you can choose from. So there are choices that you can make out there that are more nutrient dense. And instead of going for like a hamburger and French fries and a Coke, and getting all those calories that are from sugar and fat. What are some practical tips and strategies for maintaining a healthy, balanced diet over the long term? And how can we stay motivated to make these healthy choices? Well, adopting a healthy, sustainable eating pattern is really the key, sustainable being a key. Eating a diet rich in whole foods and not really high in processed foods or fast foods, for example. No crash dieting. If you're tempted to lose weight, get professional help, because going on diets a lot of times are really we can undereat and lose too much weight too quickly, and then kind of get in that yo-yo pattern. Sorry, Lucy's attacking my couch right now. Lean on professionals to get started if you feel like you need to get a healthy meal plan and pattern of eating going. If you have unhealthy habits that you need to kind of reverse and then start with healthier habits. Sometimes it can really be helpful to have to consult a professional like a registered dietitian. By the way, there are a lot of there are types of I don't know. There are nutritionists who are not registered dietitians who may not have the training. So be careful about what types of professionals you choose. You want to have someone that's been well trained as far as how the body works, as well as how food works with your body, and that would be that's really important. Learn what the right way of eating is for your body. And based on your own energy needs, your lifestyle, any kind of medical issues that you have, you may need to change the way you eat and change over time. But maintaining a healthy diet in those ways, like always going back to eating whole foods and nutrient-dense foods. Keep snacks on hand, not getting too low blood sugar during the day. I'm a firm believer in eating breakfast and having like 4 or 5 hours in between meals. And then I'm an advocate of healthy snacks, like mini meals, if necessary, in between. Because getting low blood sugar can lead to being low in energy, having headaches. Your body is just kind of like your car runs out of gas. Your body runs out of fuel and isn't fueled often enough to maintain a good level amount of energy through the day. So keep snacks on hand. I always have a bag of almonds in my car, for example, and I can just eat a few of those if I start to get hungry, instead of getting overly hungry and stopping at whatever fast food restaurant and impulse eating. So that can really help to have healthy foods on hand, and really avoiding an all or nothing approach to adopting and sustaining a healthy meal pattern. So those are basically the questions about the power of balanced nutrition and understanding how our diet and our way of eating can, our pattern of eating, the foods that we choose to eat, can be very influenced by our choices and whether we're eating fast food and processed food. So just to kind of summarize, maintaining a balanced diet is important to keep our energy and our focus. It can influence how we feel on a daily basis. We can, if we're eating foods that are nutrient dense and not too high in meals that are not too high in calories, and we're not overeating, we can really influence our long-term health and our disease risk based on our genetics. And the other thing that can really influence our nutrition is, and our nutritional needs, is activity. So maintaining an active life, activities that are doable and sustainable, as well as eating a healthy and sustainable diet. Both are really important for our overall long-term health. And so sorry about that. Lucy likes to be in on these conversations, so she always joins me in these conversations. So so that's a little bit about balanced nutrition and understanding how macronutrients, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, and then micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, and how those our food choices influence our overall calorie needs, and then meeting our vitamin and mineral needs as well. Not necessarily needing to take nutritional supplements, but then again, sometimes we may have different needs at different times in our life because of an illness or a nutrient deficiency or something like that. So we need to be able to adjust. I would say at this point, especially if you're having gastrointestinal issues, to follow Casa de Sante and the programs that we have on casadesante.com. We have meal plans, we have food products that are meant for the low FODMAP diet. We have meal plans, and we have the app as well, so that we have professional help if needed. We offer registered dietitian and GI clinicians as well, and wonderful recipes for low FODMAP, for anything low FODMAP. Recipes, meal plans, and seasonings to help with if you can't tolerate garlic and onion, we have seasonings and the types of foods that for your gut health, and free gut health assessments as well. So I look forward to seeing you on our Facebook and our website. I hope that today you learned about nutrition and health, and how macronutrients and micronutrients can, how that works together in forming healthy eating habits. Thank you for being with me today and with Lucy. We enjoyed this time with you, and we'll be seeing you on a weekly basis. So send us your questions, and we'll do our best to answer. And I'll be answering your questions as well on the Facebook channels. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you.